Today, we're diving into a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive idea from Zen philosophy that honestly might just change how you approach, well, pretty much everything. It's all about the Zen of surrender.
This ancient Zen saying, it just perfectly nails this huge paradox, doesn't it? The very tool we're using to find peace, our own mind, can actually be the biggest thing standing in our way. So what on earth does that mean, and why does this happen?
I bet you felt this. The harder you try to fall asleep, the more wide awake you feel. Or the more you desperately chase after happiness, the more it just seems to slip through your fingers. And you know what? That's not a coincidence. It's actually a fundamental pattern of how our minds are wired. Let's really dig into what's going on here.
All right, so to really wrap our heads around this pattern, we first have to see the impossible job our minds often give themselves. And that idea of a sword trying to cut itself, that's the perfect way to picture it.
See, the very act of seeking or grasping for something like peace, it's being done by our ego, right? The part of us that says, I want that. But that wanting, that striving, immediately creates a gap between you and the thing you want. It turns this natural state of being into some far-off goal, making it totally impossible. It's literally like trying to bite your own teeth. You just can't do it.
So, why? Why does our mind get so trapped in this loop that just seems to defeat itself over and over? What's driving this frustrating, endless chase?
Well, think about it. Our minds are incredible problem-solving machines. That's what they evolved to do. Scan for threats, find solutions, fix things. And that's fantastic when you're trying to figure out how to build a shelter. But it becomes a real issue when the mind starts applying that same logic to everything. It looks at a state like happiness not as something to just be in, but as a problem that needs to be solved, or a goal that has to be achieved.
So this really boils down to two completely different ways of operating. On one hand, you've got the seeking mind. It's always on, always analyzing, treating life like one big problem to fix, and it's constantly grasping for some future outcome. But then, there's the experiencing mind, and this one is different. It sees life as a process to be lived. It allows things to just unfold, and its focus is right here in the present moment.
So, okay, if all this constant seeking and striving is actually the problem, then what in the world is the solution? Well, according to Zen, the answer isn't to try harder. It's actually in a completely different direction. It's a concept called Satori. Satori is often described as this moment of sudden awakening, right? A flash of enlightenment. But here is the crucial part. It is not a prize you win after a long, hard fight. No way. It's a state that just appears all by itself, the very moment the ego gives up the chase. It happens when you finally stop trying to make it happen. We have this image in our heads, don't we? That awakening is like climbing Mount Everest, something you achieve through sheer force of will. But this whole perspective turns that on its head. It's not an achievement at all. It's the natural state that's already there, just waiting for you, once all that frantic energy of the chase finally dies down. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually apply this stuff? I mean, it's one thing to understand it, but it's another thing to live it. So let's talk about the practical antidote to that constantly seeking mind.
And here it is. It's actually beautifully simple. The antidote is a conscious shift in your perspective. It's about moving away from treating your life, your emotions, your moments as problems that need solving, and instead just treating them as experiences to be had, right here, right now. And we can even break this down into 3 pretty simple steps. First, you just start to notice when that seeking mind kicks in, that little voice pushing you, telling you to fix something or get somewhere else. The second step is to consciously choose to stop, to just decide, you know what, this moment isn't a problem. And finally, you just engage with what's happening right now, the feeling of the air on your skin, the sounds around you, what's going on in your body. Simple as that. So, we'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. In a world that is constantly screaming at us to do more, be more, achieve more, what if the most powerful thing you could possibly do is to just let go? What if the key to finding everything you're looking for is to finally stop the search?